So, all right, we're here in Glen Olden, PA, and these people were kind enough to stop doing an interview with me. Thank you. So, as I said, I just wanted to kind of ask your opinion on the state of government. What about government right now pisses you guys off the most?
That people say what they're going to do and they don't actually do what they say they're going to do when they get in office, and then pretty much now they're in office, now it's time for them to leave office, and nothing's got done.
So it kind of seems like no matter whether Republicans in there or Democrats in there, nothing seems to kind of change, right?
It doesn't matter.
What would you say kind of happens regardless? Like, to me, it seems like government just seems to grow, and they get more money, and the people get less money, and you know, we get less freedoms regardless of what party's in there.
Well, I mean, it's like you got the haves and the have-nots, and there's more have-nots than there are haves. So, I mean, and regardless of who you put in the office, it just seems that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Absolutely,
and there's definitely a huge wealth gap between like the government class. Over half of them in Congress are millionaires. So how long does this kind of thing have to happen before, like, you personally say, I don't consent to this government anymore and it's not legitimate? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of thing would have to happen for you guys to say, like, this isn't the government that I want in place anymore? Because as you said yourself, it doesn't even seem to matter who gets voted in. It's just like the same mechanism of perhaps multinational corporations and banking industries and stuff like that are running the show.
Something catastrophic or cataclysmic has to happen. I mean, until something happens to you personally, you are going to go along with the status quo.
Well, what if I told you that just within the past couple days, the Supreme Court has upheld that last year there was the annual National Defense Authorization Act, which Section 1022 authorized the indefinite detention and even killing of American citizens without trial, without due process. They could just literally take you, and you'll never be seen again if they wanted to, if you are a suspected terrorist, which is a very, very loose legal word. That was just upheld in the Supreme Court. Now here in Pennsylvania, within the same time frame, you know, police don't need a warrant anymore to search your vehicle. You know, and American citizens have been killed by drones. Anwar al-Awlaki and his 16-year-old son, his 16-year-old son's friend, they were never convicted or even tried.
Well, what's the difference between that and back during communist time? If you were suspected of being a communist, or if you were on the list, it was like a witch hunt. I mean, it's the same,
exactly.
Same thing.
It is the same thing, and that's what scares me, is that if you look at the history of, say, communism or the Nazis and fascism and all that stuff, there was a pattern of them changing the laws to where any atrocious action became legal, and that's how they came to power. You know, even Martin Luther King said that, you know, let us never forget that everything that Hitler did was legal. You know, so given that kind of idea, like, how bad does it have to get before you think we should like put an end to this, or stop supporting the government?
I guess the real question is, I think it's gotten to that point that it is bad, and people do want to do something about it, but because the government is the government, if you speak too loud, then they'll find ways to actually shut you down, because you just don't have that power. They actually have the leverage all day when it comes to the laws, the policies, and then again, you know, if you don't have any money or anything, you definitely don't have no say. So what do you do? I think we're there. It's just a matter of how do you go about that. That's the question.
I think we're there too. I mean, Congress has like a 30%, or no, Obama has a 30% approval rate. Congress has a 6% approval rate. There's more people who approve of the IRS than Congress.
Mm-hmm. That's bad.
That is bad, because the IRS is atrocious. But yeah, I agree that I think the sentiment's there, but I think people really feel almost helpless. You know, like, so. What do you think could kind of combat that feeling? Because I know that myself, I've been an activist for years now, and I felt that way too, until I got out in the streets and I started meeting people who were of the same thought, and we kind of got together and we really made things happen. You know what I mean? And drew a lot of attention. And that, ever since, has made me feel really empowered to where I will never stop now.
Yeah,
so,
but you make a good point. You felt that way until you had to be educated about that. And a lot of people, they kind of know that what they're doing now isn't working, or things aren't working, but they lack the knowledge and the understanding that there's a better way.
So maybe we have to be like more proactive in our personal lives, not even so much of the voting process, but the education process, telling people about the NDAA, or like, you know, one thing that really burns me is that the government has been involved in drug trafficking for like 30 years, you know. The Iran-Contra scandal, that brought in all the cocaine for the crack epidemic. Now you got them protecting poppy fields in Afghanistan, bringing in all the heroin. You know, that's something that really burns me, and that's just like the tip of the iceberg. You could go on and on and on about government corruption and all these things, and it's more of an incentive to educate people. But what do you think about that? That like the time of living normal life even is kind of gone, because I mean, as a 24-year-old kid, I'm afraid that when my kid's 24 of how bad it's going to be. You know what I mean? I've been arrested multiple times for no reason for speaking out. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a sign of the times. It's a sign of the times. If you read your Bible, it's a sign of the times. Things were prophesied to kind of go in the direction that they're going in now. And I mean, not to get all religious and everything, but I firmly believe that. And I also believe that people have to be educated and they have to be aware of what's going on. And until that happens, you're not going to get anybody, nothing's going to be done. I mean, because once people are educated as to what's going on around them, and they know why these things are going on, then at some point, believe you me, somebody will stand up and lead the masses. And probably that's what the average person is waiting for. They think that things should be different, they think that things should be done, but they don't think that they're the person to do it.
To initiate it, exactly.
Gotcha.
And I think, again, like you say, you know, who has the courage, just like you see these kids acting the way that they act around adults and things of that nature. Nobody sees. They walk, they'll look at it. In fact, they'll walk around with iPhones and record it and then put it on YouTube and think it's a joke.
That's atrocious.
You know, it's really sad.
well, you know, part of that is actually really positive. I mean, at least in my experience with particularly police brutality, you know what I mean? People don't realize that what I'm doing right now is a function of the First Amendment, and that cops don't like being recorded, but it's absolutely legal. It's been upheld in court over and over and over again, and it really does hold into account. And things that have been complained in certain communities for a very long time about, you know, rampant police brutality, it's now being more acknowledged than ever before, because everyone has an iPhone in their pocket.
Right.
So I think it isn't so much that as much as the responsibility of using your iPhone for productive things. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, because we have the power of knowing whatever we want in our hands now, you know?
Right.
So that's very important. Well, I appreciate your guys' time. Is there anything else you wanted to add, or?
No, that's it.
I just want to know, I'm just thankful to know that you guys are out here doing things like this, and you know, hopefully what you're marching for, what you're seeking, it definitely comes needed. So again, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a great